1140 a.m.
Streaming audio at SacktownSports.com and the Sacktown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Drake.
All right, here we go. It's the Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports 1140. And just like that, we want to always start off on the right foot. We always want to get going. You know, it's 2 o'clock. Alan just left all of us all at the high level, and I got to somehow match that. And I'm getting ready here. I'm looking at everything, and then I take out my headphones, and I look, and I go, I don't have my adapter on me. So we'll go a little blind here for a second, and we talk about a little blind here. I also don't have my glasses, so it's just like, let's have some fun. Memorial Day weekend right around the corner. Jose Gonzalez with you guys on YouTube. You can go and watch us on YouTube, or you can download the app. You can stream the app. You can go to the website. There's so many different ways nowadays that you can get this content. But grateful to every single one of you that are on YouTube. Grateful to every single one of you listening in your cars right now. Maybe you're driving out. You're going to Tahoe. Maybe you're going up to wine country. Maybe, you're going down to the Bay. You know what? It's not even warm right now. And yeah, some of you are like, well, it's Jose, and it's already 83, and next week is going to be 100. Yeah, but this weekend it isn't. This weekend, someone told me, it's hot today. I looked at him, for those of you that don't know, from Fresno, California, and I went, come on, man, hot? That's 110. Hot doesn't happen to me until I get to 100, maybe 101. That's when hot does something to me. And in that, and maybe that's not the best lead-in the world, but joining me behind the glass today is Ramsey. Ramsey, how you doing, man?
I can't complain. And at the same, when you're talking about, hot's not anything until you get to 100. Or when I went to college and went to Arizona State, hot isn't anything in Arizona until you get over 110. So I definitely understand where you're coming from.
I've been to Arizona, and everybody always it's a funny thing, because in Arizona, especially like Phoenix area, you talk about Mesa, or maybe you want to go to Tucson or wherever the heck in Arizona you're talking about. But
no, not Tucson.
It's hilarious to me that in Arizona you could potentially never go outside. Like, you go from your house into the garage, that is AC'd. Then you go into your car with an AC, and obviously not everybody does have that, but in Arizona, you better have that. And then you get to your destination, and sometimes it's not even outside. In Arizona, there is many of ways that you completely avoid the heat.
Very, very true. Like you said, you can go from house to garage to car. Only time you might step out is if you got to step into a store or step into a classroom, wherever you're heading to. And then once you do that, step from outside right back into the air conditioning. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there as well.
It is definitely one of those things that, I guess being from Fresno, anybody that complains to me about heat, I'm like, but on the opposite end, I'll complain about the winter weather.
Exactly.
I'm like, it's 60, it's 50. I'm a little chilly out here. So I'm like, and everybody's like, Jose, it's not even past 30 degrees, dude. Chill out.
I mean, I'm like you. Run me as much heat as you possibly can. I don't do cold. If it's 100 degrees, I love it. I need it. Like, I'm looking at 90. I'm like, all right, we're just starting to get here in Sacramento. Hurry up, give me the 100, 105, 110 degree heat. That's what I need.
Yeah, I sit in that zone. I prefer summer than I do the winter. You can do more things. You can go hang out. You can go do all this stuff. I 100% do prefer that. Now, just to kind of do some housekeeping here. Have a great show lined up for all of you guys today. Coming up here in the first hour of the show, we are going to have some good conversation coming up in segment 2. We'll talk Haliburton. Hour 2, then we have Brenden Nunes, Sacktown Sports insider, obviously Kings insider. He'll be joining us there at the top of hour number 2. Then in top of hour number 3, we have Chris Watkins, which you would think Chris and I are going to talk Sacramento Kings. We're not. Okay. I know the round table happened already. I know, because I listen. I always listen. I heard the round table. Now, today, he and I are going to talk about something that the last time I filled in, which, again, I didn't think I was going to be filling in this quickly, but the last time I filled in, we talked a little college football, and he had asked me a question, which I'm really intrigued to answer on the show today. And what he asked me was a comparison between Sac State and Fresno State. And it was a really good question because as someone coming from Fresno that was in that media market for over a decade, who was a host for 5 years and a program, like I've done that. And I taught Fresno State every single day for 4 years, right? That's a big ticket in town. There's a really good combination. We'll talk with him about that as well. And then top of hour number 4, we're just going to go a little everywhere. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to talk some Niners. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to go back to the Kings. We're going to have a conversation about the top 5 NFL quarterbacks because I'm really intrigued. I feel this, and Ramsey, we can hash this really quickly and then take it over to all the way to the end of the show. And that is, I feel like you and I, and maybe every single listener, will have the same top 3. I think the top 3 NFL quarterbacks are indisputable. Maybe 2 and 3 can have a conversation about who goes where, but it feels like the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL, you can cover your eyes and you know exactly who everybody's going to say.
For the most part, one of them is originally from where you used to have your stomping grounds of broadcast from, or just from the outskirts, as you said, in the media market for over a decade.
It's going to be, yeah. It's a king of fireball. I'm like, whatever, however you want to go about it. Fresno State's, but we're going to talk about this in the next segment, so this might be a good bridge. And that is, Haliburton is that one that got away. And, Carmichael Dave this morning had a really good point in saying, have we ever gone through this? Meaning Kings fans, have we ever gone through a real potential top star, potential generational kind of player, right, for a franchise? Have we ever gone through seeing someone go and be uber successful? And it's not some of the guys that maybe you're like, oh, well, we missed out on this guy. No, you had him here. You made the decision to, hey, we have these 2 guys. We can't win with these 2 guys. We need to go and get one of these guys some help. The guy who had the most value, according to what I've heard, was Haliburton at that time, and the deal gets made for Haliburton. We're going to chat about that, but
we'll talk about it.
It's interesting to me hearing Dave talk about that.
We'll talk about it. And I may have, and we'll get into it, like you said, just a little later. I may have a different stance from Minnie in Sacramento because I see what Tyrese Haliburton is doing. I tip my hat. But my stance is, and it's been this way, you had to give up something to get something. And while I still have love for Tyrese Haliburton, you would have got Domantas Sabonis here in Sacramento if you didn't move on from Tyrese Haliburton.
100%. It's the, do you think, and we'll answer this question on the other side, and that's, do you think that because you traded Haliburton, or let's just say because you would have traded De'Aaron Fox, whatever that return would have been, that, again, as a fan, do you really truly believe that we'd be in a different place right now if you would have traded De'Aaron Fox and like, instead of Haliburton, and what that team would have looked like? Like, they didn't build it around De'Aaron, right?
No, they didn't build it around De'Aaron. I mean, they, as we can say, they built it more so now around Domantas Sabonis, and he's still in Sacramento. And I'm always the type of person, you got just look forward. You can't look backwards. I mean, it happened. You had to make a move. And the minute I saw that trade happen, I'm like, oh, the Kings got rid of Tyrese Haliburton. I was like, but they just got a 3-time All-Star in Domantas Sabonis, so let's go.
To me, it's obviously every time we then look back and go, hindsight is 2020, right? Like, I am a host who will look back at things and go, I was wrong. I'm as a host, I will always admit when I made a mistake in my judgment and what I see, and I'll go, okay, I was one of those that was calling for the 49ers to be, for the 49ers to be Trey Lance's team, right? Like, I can come back and go, I was wrong. I was wrong. I'm not an NFL evaluator. If I was, I'd be getting paid by the NFL. That to me is as easy as it gets. So we'll talk more about that.
If you were an NFL evaluator, you and I wouldn't be talking right here, right now at this moment. So
So, and you will, like, we brought up Josh Allen in that, and we'll talk about that later on. So a lot here to come. Again, Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive Guys today. Ramsey filling in for Jay today. It's just the fill-in party all around. Anthony filled in for Kyle Ledbetter. It's vacation times. It's summer-ish time. We're a month away from summer-ish, right? So we're around the corner. Everything's right here. We're about to get it all rolling and going. Appreciate every single one of you for joining us. Appreciate every single one of you tuning in. Coming up, we're going to talk about Haliburton, and it is one thing and one aspect. What if he makes the NBA Finals? Look, still 3 wins away. Still 3 wins away. Okay, like, just preface all of it. Still 3 wins away. But are the Indiana Pacers going to keep the suspension on Dad? Right? Like, is that going to, we'll talk about that coming up next. Are they going to keep this? Like, is Dad going to have to miss out on experiencing his son in an NBA Final? Now, again, 3 games away. But I'm just spitballing. I'm just throwing it out here. All right, Jose Gonzalez filling in for Kevin Gleason, for Kyle Draper on the Dry Guys, Sacktown Sports 1140.
Stay up to date on Sacramento sports. Join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit SacktownSports.com.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metalwoods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531, 808-2531 for more.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Man standing.
Only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
This song, that rhythm, right? That hook, all it makes me remember and think about, and it was one of my favorite video games growing up. And maybe I'm giving too much a little bit about my age here, but NBA Street Jam 2, Volume 2. I gotta say it all right. NBA Street Jam Volume 2. That's all that comes to my mind when I see that. Load up the special, throw it up. Shaq, Kobe, those guys. I maybe should have used different players, but there it is. Like, that's all. Is that what comes to your mind too, Ramsey, with that, or is it? Are you just cooler than me and you just?
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm not going to say that one way or the other. I just remember when that song first dropped in the late '80s, early '90s. I was probably like 8 or 9, and it's like I said, it's one of those old school classics that people still remember. It's still and it evokes, like you said, some form of response, whether it be NBA Street, the original song, the original meaning behind the song. It's just one of those things that does, and music does that, regardless of topic, regardless of a situation. But that's one thing. People have definite thoughts, feelings, ideas, like when they heard certain songs, certain tracks, and that's one of them.
All the time. So there's a lot of songs that would just, and your childhood, or that summer in 2001 just triggers in your mind, and you remember where you were. Music is a beautiful thing, just like sports.
Yes,
sports. It can make you feel all the really great stuff in life. And if you let it consume, it will also make you feel all the bad things in life. And with that leads me to, as an outsider, because I am an outsider here. Okay, Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive guys, Kevin, Kyle, Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's off on Monday. We'll be back here on the air 6 a.m. on Tuesday with the Carmichael Dave Show and Jason Ross. Obviously, Alan Styles Show and the Drive guys on Tuesday. But, besides that, looking at reminiscing, looking at remembering, looking at potentially sometimes we hurt ourselves, right? Like, we love to think about that bad relationship, that one toxic one that really affected us in life, that really did things to, usually you got to get through that one to get to the next. Be it when you were 16, some people find that kind of love early, and maybe you then go back and realize, I was the problem in that relationship. It was me. I'm the problem, as Taylor Swift would say. In that, I sit here and I go, Ramsey, are Kings fans hurting themselves with this Haliburton stuff? Because, like, I hear Carmichael Dave talk about it in the morning, and I go, look, I get it, hindsight 2020, but as Silva puts it in the chat, like, Fox wasn't the big ticket on the team. Like, he wasn't the guy that everybody was looking to go trade for. That was Haliburton, right? And yeah, now you can sit here and go, well, they made the wrong call. Like, how long have the Indiana Pacers been looking to potentially move Miles Turner?
Exactly. And with that being said as well, I'm going to use another trade from a different team that you can speak to right now, that someone could look in a similar boat. It's a similar analogy. Are the Clippers kicking themselves because they traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to OKC for Paul George?
And having Doc Rivers come out and say, like, I told Kawhi he was going to be great, and we can have a different Doc Rivers conversation. But 100%, like, you go back and look at everything that Clippers gave up, not just Alexander, but all of the picks and everything that came through that.
And at that time, Shai was just a throw-in. Shai was just a fill-in in the trade. Honestly, like, they had no clue of what they really had. I mean, he
wasn't Gallinari
Gallinari.
they're like, okay, he's going to be a three-point shooter,
and Shai was looked at as a fill-in, like, okay, he's young. He learned a little bit while he was still there under Chris Paul. Yeah, let's see what he could be. Well, you traded an NBA MVP is what you did. Hindsight's 2020.
Yes.
And I mean,
and Paul George didn't become the guy. Well, look, here's the other thing, Fresno. I raise my hand again. Here's the thing that I feel like with people get in on the Paul George stuff, and they just kind of take advantage that it's easy, to just kick someone when they're down. It's easy to add on top, right? It's when someone cracks a joke in a group of friends at someone, it's easy to pile on that friend and just keep going and going and going. But the reality is, we want to talk about Paul George, but where Kawhi Leonard wasn't there.
No.
Paul George wasn't supposed to be coming in as the one.
No.
He was supposed to be the Robin to Leonard's Batman. And he never was able to because Leonard was never healthy. This is literally the first season that Kawhi Leonard is healthy.
Exactly.
And they moved on. They didn't want to pay Paul George, went to Philly, and then he.
And ironically enough, now, yeah, like you said, Paul George was the one that wasn't as healthy this season in comparison to Kawhi Leonard. So I mean, it was a shot at something that unfortunately for the Clippers failed at that particular moment. They moved on, and they may potentially be in a better shape now with the roster that they have in comparison to, while Paul George is a great player, don't know about the situation in Philadelphia. They may have a better core now with the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Ivica Zubac, who made all defense. And
I don't feel like our Laker fans out here, going, we traded him. We let him get. We need a big man now.
Exactly. They're not looking at they're definitely not looking at Zubac. Oh, wait, we let go of second team all defense potentially, which we'll see here potentially, I think, in a few hours.
It felt like for nothing.
An all NBA, a potential all NBA center in Ivica Zubac. Norman Powell, who came on this year that most people looked at, that he came over in the Kawhi deal, basically is almost another filler piece, and he's one of their core additions, and you can go from there. And I mean, just speaking to what we're talking about here with Tyrese Haliburton, as I said before, as we were in the last segment before we went to break, you had to give up something to get something. And you're not, and no one's crying over spilt. People were crying the day of over spilt milk because they didn't know what Domantas Sabonis was at the time. I personally did, and I was like, let's go. We just got us an all-star talent, a top 5 big man in the NBA in Sacramento, but you had to give up something to get it. And Indiana took Tyrese Haliburton. So, I mean, we can't go back and cry over it. That's just happened to be the move that was made.
But here's the thing. I disagree with you in the point of we can't go back and cry about it. We can, but the thing is, I feel like we're crying too much about it. Like,
exactly.
It's like, I get it. I 100% get it. With the inability of playoff success, inability to get to the playoffs that the Sacramento Kings have gone through, one guy having some success, a lot of success right now, but having success does not mean if he would have stayed that the Sacramento Kings would have had success. And I say that knowing that, hey, look, there's been a change at general manager. Scott Perry is now the general manager of the Sacramento Kings. Now the hope is, can he hit all the right moves? Look, Monty McNair. Monty had this team in a decent spot. Beam team. It felt like everything was going to go right. We can go back and just hash every single decision that has come out. But what would have changed?
Two head coaches later at that, because
that also
Mike Brown and Doug Christie weren't the head coach when Tyrese Haliburton was here. So
and looking at that, I sit here and I go, what makes you believe now you have no Domas? What would you have gotten with De'Aaron, right? Indiana didn't want him. They wanted Tyrese. You wanted Domas. How do you get that deal done? Now everything perspective-wise in this whole scenario gets changed. And I go, why do you think that if you are someone that all you do is talk about the inability to make right decisions by the Sacramento Kings, what makes you think, what makes you believe that they would have then handled Tyrese Haliburton correctly, that then would have led to their success the same? Because, look, you can't grab the Kings and put them in the Eastern Conference.
No.
You simply can't. So, I think we get so worked up, so put into that, and I just don't understand. And now before we hit the break, looking at the grand scheme of things, I will ask the question again. Do you think the Indiana Pacers, and I do want to answer this before we go to break, do you think the Indiana Pacers, if they win the next 3, lift the ban on Dad?
I'm going to use a line I've heard the great John Halliburton say before about the ban. I can guarantee you that's over. He will be in the building for the NBA Finals.
Like, to me, it's like, even if you hide them, put them in a suite, just put a hat over them, put glasses.
I was going to say, do the Bobby Valentine move.
Just poke your head out. Okay, I see it. It would suck. That one bad, and this goes one bad decision. I don't like what he did at all.
No one does.
He shouldn't have done that.
That's a safety issue.
100%.
He shouldn't have done it. But as you look at it now, you sit here and you go, look, does the punishment equate, the what you did? And I don't know if the consequence fits it if Tyrese and the Indiana Pacers actually win 3 more games, because tonight is game 2, and the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks are still waiting for that tie ball to fall down off the back iron, and it just insanity kind of falling on that. And real quick, we got to see what the Knicks look like tonight coming out for this game 2, because they could be mentally shook after everything that happened in game 1, and tonight's performance may dictate the rest of the entire series, because you could hear a pin drop coming out of Madison Square Garden last night.
Can I tell you?
In overtime.
I couldn't be happier to see them walk out like that. The way, like that Indiana Pacer fan that got chased around, he was on Pat McAfee and he talked, and it's like, I get it. Everybody likes to be villains nowadays, right? More people want to be villains than they want to be heroes. I can't, I'm not rooting for the Indiana Pacers, but I'm one of those guys that right now I am rooting for the New York Knicks to lose. So we'll talk more about that later on in the show. We'll dive back into that, but oh my goodness. Next, I want to talk about Major League Baseball. Yeah, baseball. I was going to say playoffs. No, Major League Baseball. Interestingly enough, today, Ramsey brought an article to my attention that talks about generational talent. And the generational talent it is talking about is, who would you take, Mookie Betts or Mike Trout? Who is the generational great? Is it Mookie Betts? Is it Mike Trout? Do you look at accolades individually, or do you look at them collectively? Do you consider where they're playing and where they've been? This is a to Z. It's a great one. We'll talk about that question next, because I think I've changed my mind just in the 40 minutes of me and Ramsey having this conversation pre-show. I don't know. We'll talk about it next. Who are you taking? Are you taking Trout? Are you taking Betts? Or is there someone we're not talking about that you'd say, I'd rather take? And don't bring up Shohei Ohtani. We're not talking about that. All right. Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive guys. Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason on Sacktown Sports 1140.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Roseville Auto Mall.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It's finally Friday, heading into a holiday weekend. For today, you can expect mostly sunny skies, temperatures down slightly, highs in the low 80s. That's near normal for this time of year. Expect to have light winds and mostly sunny skies. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
The Roseville Auto Mall is Northern California's ultimate destination when looking for your next vehicle. Find the largest selection with 20 top brands. Take advantage of huge savings during our Memorial Day sales event going on now at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, we know it's still fairly early, but in a poll conducted by MLB.com, A's shortstop Jacob Wilson was the runaway leader for American League Rookie of the Year. And why not? He leads AL rookies in virtually every important offensive category. The last A's Rookie of the Year? Andrew Bailey back in 2009.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the NBA Finals.
In the NBA Finals, any moment can become unforgettable. Now is your chance to watch the next moment you'll remember forever.
Short, open, Chicago with the lead.
Unforgettable awaits.
Anything's possible.
The 2025 NBA Finals presented by YouTube TV begin June 5th on ABC.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's
Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
It's the Memorial Day Sell-a-thon now through Monday at Folsom Lake Ford. Get employee pricing plus low finance rates with approved credit now through Monday. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Ready for your Memorial Day barbecue? We've got you covered. 20 ribeyes for $40 is back in town. Yes, 20 ribeyes for just $40 is back. Happening now this weekend in Sacramento at Fasteners Tool Outlet on Power Inn Road and in Rockland at RC Willie Home Furnishings. Enjoy crazy half-price bulk deals on steak, chicken, pork chops, and seafood. Stock up now on prices you haven't seen since 2019. Bulk family party packs to fill your freezer plus 20 ribeyes for $40 until sold out. 20 ribeyes for $40 huge truckload meat sale is going fast. Huge bulk deals on New York strips, filet, mega ribeyes, gourmet smash burgers, plus chicken and seafood. 20 ribeye steaks for just $40 and fill your freezer bulk deals while supplies last. All payments accepted. Cash, credit, debit, and EBT. Hurry out. This huge truckload meat sale won't last long. Happening right now this weekend only at Fasteners Tool Outlet on Power Inn Road and in Rockland at RC Willie Home Furnishings. On Facebook and Instagram at Essential Foods Direct.
Live and local. It's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Mighty Drive Guys, who will usually take you home, take it to your afternoon, to your evening, all the way to your weekend. Shout out to all of you right now stuck in traffic heading to Lake Tahoe. Shout out to you. And that is it the 80? I'm still learning a little bit. Is it 50?
Tahoe is 50. Okay. Reno is 80.
That's okay. That's the switch. See, I knew him. I just had him a little.
For me, it's personal because I was born in Lake Tahoe, so I know.
There you go. See now, but if you talk about all the freeways, highways that run through Fresno, I've had those answers. I'll have them really quickly.
Oh, very true. I understand.
Yeah, I'm like, 99 runs right through Fresno too.
But there's other freeways you can take to get to Fresno.
There is.
I've done it before, so I know.
Yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton. Now, reminding you guys, make sure that you go and download the app, Sacktown Sports 1140. Download that. You can take us anywhere you go. Website, sacktownsports.com. And obviously, you can go read Brenden Nunes' articles. And when he comes back, Frankie Cardicelli as well. And go read those guys' work on sacktownsports.com. Those are always great articles, and Brenden will be joining us top of hour number 2 here, and top of hour number 2 is 3:00. Okay, and then Chris Watkins will join us top of hour 3, 4:00, and you see how this works. Okay, so those two guys joining us, and Brenden and I will be talking Kings. Chris and I will be talking some college football, which will get some fun and interesting here. Now, it's this article, by the way, it's a great article. Like it is a great article. It's an intense read. I'll later on, we'll talk about where, but Ramsey runs across this article, and I just kind of want to set the table on this because they talk about war. For those of you that don't know, win the bump replacement. And so WAR is now one of the main conversational factors now. When you talk about greats, when you talk about greatest of all times, when you talk about MVPs, WAR is one of the main ingredients to coming to your decision, opinion, to the result. And so Mike Trout very obviously had an insane beginning to his career. And the crazy part about this, and it gets pointed out quickly in the article, and it is that Trout has been injured a lot since 2021.
He's injured right now.
And he's now only played in about 42% of the games that the Los Angeles Angels have played since 2021. That is, seeing that, I went, holy smokes, I didn't really know that. And so then you go, okay, let's look at the numbers, and we're going to do this. I'm not a numbers guy. I don't like throwing batting averages. I don't like, because the reality is, especially in Major League Baseball, it is we don't get too far into the weeds on it anymore. But his age 20 season, that was back in 2020. 2012. And his WAR, 11. In age 21 season, we're talking about 2013, WAR, 19.9. Age 22, and I'm not going to say the year every time, 27.6. First ahead of Ty Cobb and in that as well as that. Age 23, 37.1, ahead of Cobb and Ted Williams. Age 24, 47.5, ahead of Cobb and Mickey Mantle. Age 25, 54.4. We're talking about WAR, second behind Cobb. Then we're talking about age 26 and age 27. First ahead of Cobb and Mantle, and that's 64.3 and 72.2. That is where we sit here and go, that's insane that by age 27 in 2019, we were believing we are seeing the greatest player ever to step on a diamond. That was the conversation at that point. Since then, you get into 2020, and his WAR only goes up 1.8 to 74. Then, age 29, we're talking about 2021, his WAR goes up 1.9. Next year, goes up a lot more, but now we're sitting at 82, goes up 7.9.
And let's preface it, that was his last true healthy season for Mike Trout.
Yes. And even then, he had injuries here or there. So
yes.
You take that with what you will. Then it goes up 1.9. Then it goes up 7.9. Pardon me, 6.9. And then age 31, 2023, 84.9 only goes up 2.9. So from these ginormous double-digit jumps every single year, MVPs, and something we've never seen, Mike Trout falls off face of the earth, obviously with a ton of injuries. Now, consistency has been Mookie Betts' strong suit.
Yes.
Same as said, through age 23, he was ranked 33rd with 18.1. Through age 26, 42.5, 21st. Age 29, 57, 28th. And through age 31, 70.3, 34th. So we don't have a lot of time to dive into this today. And we're going to move this over to the other side of the conversation. So we're going to talk college football with Chris Watkins. So on the other side, now that you hear the numbers, now that you know the numbers, now that we're sitting in a better understanding of the two, one has been consistent as consistent gets. The other was generational until he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that more in depth and maybe add some caveats coming up next, right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
The Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. right to your email. Get your latest on the Sacramento Kings, UC Davis, and Sac State with a Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com to join.
California, it's the Ford Memorial Day Sell-a-thon. For a limited time, get the biggest savings on an incredible selection. So visit your California Ford dealer now and get great offers across the lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Like the built Ford Tough F-150 truck, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and counting. Or the adventure-ready Ford Bronco Sport with GOAT modes to help you conquer the great outdoors. And check out the always electrifying Ford Mustang Mach-E with 0 to 60 thrills and 0 emissions. It's the Ford Memorial Day Sell-a-thon, and it's your chance to save. Whether it's gas, hybrid, or all-electric, now's the best time to get behind the wheel of your brand new Ford truck or SUV and drive it home today. But hurry, these offers end soon. So go to your California Ford dealer today, based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
San Francisco! What a laser from Brock Purdy, and what a catch.
San Francisco 49ers single game tickets are available now.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Fred gets up and runs back the other way. One block and he's in. Gonna throw left for the end zone. It's caught by George Kittle.
Secure your seats at 49ers.com/tickets.
Touchdown!
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and the total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Get ready for a summer of music, comedy, and thrills with the Sacktown Sports Live events calendar. Kick it off with punk legends The Damned at Ace of Spades May 31st. Then laugh it up with comedian Kathleen Madigan at Hard Rock Live Sacramento June 7th. Country fans, mark your calendars. Whitey Morgan and the 78s roll into town June 19th, followed by jam-packed June 21st. Tainted Love is at Ace of Spades. Lee Bryce and Walker Hayes are at Ironstone Amphitheater, and Penn and Teller are at Thunder Valley. Then it's 3 days of music and wine at the Country Summer Music Festival, June 27th through the 29th at the Sonoma County Fairgrounds. Don't miss the tradition and thrills of the Folsom Pro Rodeo July 3rd through 5th, followed by country superstar Cody Johnson at Golden One Center July 18th. August brings legends. Catch Rick Springfield August 1st and Parker McCollum at the Ironstone Amphitheater June 16th. Grab your tickets now and don't miss a beat. Only with Sacktown Sports.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Alan Stiles. Injured at work? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they've won over $500 million in settlements. Downtown LA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay zero up front. Call Downtown. Text Injury Help to 40222. That's Injury Help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
For 20 years since Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course opened near the banks of the Sacramento River, it's been Sacramento's #1 course for fun. Perry Dye of the famous Dye family of golf course architects designed the course to be an easy walk, but motorized carts are available as well. You and your friends will find Bartley Cavanaugh's Tap House restaurant offers great food, whether you play golf or not. Relax on the outdoor veranda overlooking the course with a cold beverage or a tasty meal. For tee times, visit bartleycavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez with you. Filling in for the Drive guys. Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason. They'll be back on. One of them will be back on Tuesday. And, if you're sitting here going, it's that, what is it? It's the SpongeBob thing. This guy stinks. It's okay. Yeah, I'm just here for a day. You'll have the Drive guys right back with you.
Jose's on his Marshawn Lynch movement. He's just here so he doesn't get fined.
Yeah,
That's all.
Come on, man. I'm trying not to get in trouble. Yeah, come on. It's fun. I was like, I appreciate every single one of you for joining us. The YouTube chat, thank you. YouTube, go and watch us there. Text line as well. And, of course, we'll give you guys a chance to call in and give your opinion here. But I laid out all of the facts when it comes to Mike Trout and when it comes to Mookie Betts. And, the question really is, what wins out? Is it longevity? Or is it a small... 8 years isn't small. That's also another key point to this. But is it a string of consistent success that doesn't extend over the entirety of the career? What wins out in your mind? Because, look, I'm a Braves fan. For those of you that don't know, most of you wouldn't. Why should you? I would argue I love Freddie Freeman. I don't think he's ever gotten the respect he should have gotten over the course of his career. He's been so consistent.
He hasn't, and now he's on the team with not one, not two, but three former or current MVP players at the same time.
And who hit the grand slam?
Freddie Freeman.
So for me, like if you asked me about consistent greatness, I'm going to say the guy that is showing up and playing is going to, like, it would go back to the argument that anybody could potentially make with LeBron James, Michael Jordan, right? Well, a lot of what is talked about the greatness of Michael Jordan is sustainable success over a shorter period of time, right? Compared to LBJ, right? Like, if you look at Michael Jordan, you go, well, if he would have played that season, maybe he wins 7 straight, and we're talking about 7 rings. Okay, but we're talking about 6-0, and that's what everybody yells at. And if you say Michael isn't your GOAT, then they're going to yell at you 6-0, and they just, it's like Yankee fans. When Yankee fans get worked up and you tell them something about the Yankees suck, and they just will yell World Series rings at you.
Yeah.
So kind of putting those two in perspective, what career would you rather have? Because we could talk about greatness, but what career would you rather have? Is it 8 years of sustainable success, winning MVPs, maybe getting to playoffs once, not having any playoff success, but having a lot of individual success? Or is it a guy like Mookie that with the Red Sox has success, goes on to the Los Angeles Dodgers and has success? And obviously wins World Series and is consistently in the playoffs and is consistently fighting? What you would want?
Here's what I have to say about Mookie Betts in comparison to Mike Trout. Yes, the Angels asked Mike Trout to make a position change this season from center field to right field. Yes, there's some compare and contrast. There are some differences. They're trying to save Mike Trout's longevity by putting him in right field. But looking at Mookie Betts has played not one, not two, but 3 positions in the major leagues. He came up as a middle infielder.
Yeah.
He was asked to shift into the outfield, played outfield, won an MVP as a right fielder with the Red Sox. He gets to LA, starts in right field, and due to necessity, and now due to talent, he originally was playing a little bit of second base last year, and they asked him now. He's their now everyday shortstop. So I mean, he's gone through 3 position changes throughout his his Major League Baseball career, and like you said, he's a model consistency. He may have 1 MVP in comparison to 3 with Mike Trout, but like you said, he's got 3 chips. Mike Trout hasn't won a series, hasn't sniffed an ounce of success in the playoffs.
I like it.
And speaking of Mike Trout, I had the fortunate privilege and fortune to basically stand right next to him yesterday. I was in the Angels clubhouse. The man is still a physical specimen at 33, almost 34 years of age. Yeah. He's a workout warrior. He stays in shape even regardless of the injuries, but he unfortunately now is known as injury prone.
So what you're saying is you're taking Betts' career over Mike Trout's career?
At the moment, yes, I am.
Yeah. It's intriguing because you can add Ohtani to the conversation. You can add Aaron Judge to the conversation. What has Judge done right in the last few years? Like you could argue if Judge has stayed healthy, like we could be talking about an all-time great as well. And we can still have that conversation.
And we're about 55 games into a potential historic season for Aaron Judge.
Is he still hitting like 600?
He's at like right now. I think he's at like 396.
Okay, I was like last time I checked, it was 410.
And he's fell off a little bit. And I can speak to that again. Having the privilege of going to see him at Sutter Health Park here on Mother's Day, the man is it's a joy to watch for the fact I'm not a Yankees fan. Can't stand the Yankees.
No, I can't either.
But with the man is not hitting for power this year. He's batting 396, leads the league in hits with 74. He's still leads the league in RBI.
Juan Soto isn't in front of him this year.
Exactly. So and he actually has, depending on how they do it, a better hitter in front of him in Paul Goldschmidt in comparison to Juan Soto. And he may have a historical season that we're witnessing above our eyes. And just speaking of that game I saw on Mother's Day, he had 4 hits. None of them were home runs. Every ball was hit hard, and that's what he's doing. And he's taking pitches where they need to go this year, which is something he's added to his game.
It's interesting to see how he's changed. Now, I will tell you this.
Another Fresno product.
Another Fresno State product. In that, I sit here and I go, I think I'm still taking Mike Trout's career, even with the individual, even with it just being individual accolades over World Series. And it's not because to me, it's because one player himself in baseball. Basketball, we have a different discussion. Football, we can have a different discussion. Even hockey, we can, right? Connor McDavid, we can have a different discussion.
And you bring a McDavid, I'll push back with that. I don't even think McDavid's the best player on his own team.
So that's a conversation for another day. But when I look at that, I know baseball isn't that. I know one guy isn't going to will you to a World Series. You need a collective group that is going to get you there. So to me, I think it says more obviously about the Angels than it does about Mike Trout. But this is an interesting conversation because we talk about generational and we talk about generations and like generation is switching because technically Mike Trout falls in the Derek Jeter generation, right?
Yeah.
Technically he falls back into the Ken Griffey, falls back into those 2000s.
And that's another player that, for a majority of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s, we look at that either him or Barry Bonds as our GOAT right now. We look at Ken Griffey or Barry as our greatest of all time. So
I think there are a lot of things that go into it. I will say this. I was not a Mookie Betts guy before I read this. Then I read the article and I kind of sat back and I go, look, I might be a little too harsh on that guy. And, like I said earlier, I will accept when I am wrong and it feels like I'm on that boat.
And I'll second you on this for the fact I'm not a Mookie Betts dude, and it's not because of who he is. I like him as an individual and what he stands for, who he is. I just can't stand the Red Sox, and I can't stand the Dodgers. So it's kind of hard for me to evaluate him as just the player himself. Because like I said, I'm slightly biased because I can't stand either one of those two teams.
I can dislike the teams, but I can respect the player.
Very true.
Just to me, I would say I'm an Aaron Judge guy. I would love to see him be as successful can come. But at the exact same time, I don't want to see the New York Yankees win a World Series. So take that with what you will. Coming up, Brenden Nunes will be joining us, Sacktown Sports Insider. He and I will talk about the Sacramento Kings. And I know some of you are going, Jose, what are you doing? You've talked about Haliburton. You've talked Major League Baseball. You haven't talked about the Sacramento Kings. We are going to talk about the Sacramento Kings. We'll do that with our guy, Brenden Nunes. He comes up top of the hour. We'll talk some NFL after that, as well as something interesting that it's interesting to me. And you'll hear me say that a lot because a lot of things are interesting to me. But we'll talk about direct-to-consumer. What does that mean? What has that affected? How is it affecting you? We'll dive into all of that. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 in front of us. Appreciate you. Keep it right here. Good, bad, ugly, whatever you think. We appreciate you for listening. Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive Guys. Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason on Sacktown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body?
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip, if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
The Memorial Day Race to Savings is on. Get the best deals of the season at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the Memorial Day Race to Savings, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at PowerCopiers.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads, great for you, and so easy you could put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage, weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans, also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke. Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Chad, what's going on for Chrysler's Employee Pricing Plus event?
We all love employee perks, and nothing is better than getting the employee price. But we are going even further. Right now, you can save up to $16,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Ram 1500 Crew Cabs. Plus, with over 500 new Rams available, your perfect truck is waiting at Hoblet.
It's nice getting all the employee benefits without the work.
But with Hoblet, it's not just employee pricing. We are a fifth-generation family-owned dealer, and when you buy at Hoblet, you become part of the family. Plus, you get to experience our award-winning customer service. And remember to check out our Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter with nearly 200 vehicles available and over 50 under $20,000.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
16,000 total net savings on select new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie after 3,500 factory rebates and 12,500 dealer discount, including employee pricing for all. Rebates may include 500 on the job upfit for eligible upfit. 5% net savings, sample VIN 93559. See dealer for details.
Bring the whole family to Sutter Health Park for Sacramento River Cats baseball. It's more than a game. It's an experience your kids will never forget. Enjoy exciting action on the field, delicious ballpark food, and fun activities for all ages. From meeting Dinger the mascot to running the bases every Sunday, there's something for everyone. Create lasting memories with your family this season. Get your tickets at rivercats.com.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Hour number 2. Jose Gonzalez with you on this beautiful Friday, May 23rd, 2025. The current temperature in the beautiful city of Sacramento, it is currently 79 degrees. High today, 81 degrees. And yeah, it feels great. Tomorrow, 85. Sunday 81, Monday 81, and we just sit here, we sit here going, who could ask for a better weather kind of Memorial Day weekend than what we're getting right now? And joining me now, it's our guy, Sacktown Sports Insider, Sacramento Kings Insider. He talks to everyone and anyone, and he has conversations that he can't tell you about. That's who he is. That's Brenden Nunes. Brenden, man, always a pleasure to have a conversation with you and joining the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me, and appreciate you filling in for today. I mentioned to you, but for the listeners, my little brother's graduating high school today. It's the last one on this side of the family, actually. I would be lying if I wouldn't say it's a little emotional.
Okay. Now, it's intriguing. I graduated over 10 years ago from high school, and here in Sacramento, or in the surrounding areas, I don't know where, but how is it? Is it stadium, outdoor? Is it indoor? How do graduations tend to go out here? And congratulations to any of the graduates, high school, college, promotions from middle school, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it's a wide variety. I've definitely had moments of showing up to Golden One for Kings events, practices, whatever, and seeing some graduations there. I'm sure there's some colleges. I'd imagine that some high schools do that as well. But yeah, my little brother here, same school that his sister went to, they just kind of do it on their football field, really. And hopefully it'll be a little warm out there today, but we'll be all right. Fun little.
And I can personally speak to it being from Sacramento. My high school graduation, 1999, was at American River College. My daughter graduated during the whole COVID situation. She graduated at Sutter Health Park, but I mean, like Brenden said, they're at schools. I've seen many at Golden One Center this week, whether it be high school, Sac State. It all depends on where the situation is, where the budget is, and where you can go from there.
No, I know there's high schools in the other area as well. The stadium, sometimes in the arena. However, it ends up working out that way. But again, congratulations to every single one of you taking that next step in your life. Real world is coming up in front of you. Just enjoy it. With that being said, Brenden, it intrigues me to be in May and kind of sitting around and, we have to find and figure out ways to talk about the Sacramento Kings as much as we can. And last time, you and I chatted, we talked about the front office changes and the coaching changes and who's in, who's been out, and we dove into all of those things. But as I look at the Sacramento Kings, in your eyes, is DeMar DeRozan going to be here in October, or is DeMar DeRozan really closer to his way out? Because it just feels like that's the one guy we're all talking about in the potential change. And I don't know how much return you get for a guy like DeMar DeRozan, but what is the situation right now surrounding DeRozan?
Yeah, when they brought him in last offseason, it felt like a opportunistic move rather than identifying, oh, this guy fits perfectly with the team. It was, oh, really? We can give up Harrison Barnes in a first? Like, we have to do something. Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox kind of stayed stagnant with the roster there for a little while. So you see them go out and make a move for a guy that's going to be a future Hall of Famer, obviously. But there were fit questions at the time, and I think that we saw those play out throughout last season. They were middle of the pack in pace, and I think you could really feel the difference from when DeRozan was out there versus when he wasn't. He's also not the greatest mesh with Domantas Sabonis if we're functioning as if assuming that this team is going to be ran through him next season, which is still TBD, but I think it makes the most sense to move on from DeMar, and especially if you are trying to go big fish hunting for a Trae Young, a John Morant. You can take DeMar's $24, almost $25 million next year, and then the following year, the last year of his contract, only has $10 million guaranteed out of the 25.5, which may be a little bit appealing to some teams if they were just trying to move off from him when that deal comes to a close. But to your point, there's not much value there, I'd imagine currently. I think he's about fair on what he's on contractually, again, in that 25 range. But the Kings have so many first-round picks available to them, especially after the one just conveyed in this draft to Atlanta, that in my mind, I wouldn't be surprised if we were talking about something with DeMar, maybe Devin Carter, and some picks to go and try to make a big swing here.
And that kind of sets me in a weird place, because obviously there are some holes to this roster. And Brenden, I've heard Alan talk about it, right? I heard you guys talk about it on the roundtable as well. And it just kind of goes to me to say, look, make a decision whether you're in or you're out, meaning the Sacramento Kings front office. You got to make a clear decision whether you're going to continue status quo or you're going to try to at least figure some things out. It just doesn't feel like, if you package DeRozan with a Devin Carter and picks, isn't that a slap in the face putting Devin Carter in that trade to the fan base because you decided not to, move the pick? You decided to draft. You had some players there that you kind of look back and you go, why didn't we go this way? You haven't really had a full season of Devin Carter, got hurt early. His development. What is your sentiment on that? Because for me, I would look at it and go, so you just wasted a first round pick on Devin Carter, and depending on how big that splash is, I don't know if that splash could be big enough for me to change my mind on that.
Yeah, I think, Devin Carter is still very TBD on what he can be in the NBA. Obviously, you don't get the greatest sample size last year with him missing so much of the beginning of the season, shoulder injury. Then you have to go through your rookie adjustments in the middle of the season. So obviously we don't have a great feel for him and what he can provide. But I think already being a drafted player makes him have either more or less value than some of these picks, depending on what organization the Kings may be dealing with. So I think it would probably be a scenario where the other team would have to like Devin. But I definitely hear what you're saying. And if the Kings are trying to get this back on track as quick as possible, which is what I expect them to do, then you probably keep the guy that you've already drafted compared to the hypothetical picks down the line. So I just kind of threw him in there because I think he's one of the actually enticing additional pieces that the Kings can include if they're trying to compete and be in these conversations with a Trae Young, John Morant. I mean, you have to put the best offer on the table comparatively to what other teams are offering. And that might mean you have to throw Devin Carter in there. Like, and don't forget, like, Scott Perry's not the one that drafted Keegan Murray, and he's going to be extension eligible. He's a different player when you're actually paying him whatever, somewhere between 20 to 30 million. And, I don't think anything is off the table, point being, with this new front office. And Devin, I think, definitely could be included if they were needing to remain competitive with some of these other offers. I mean, we don't have to go down the Tyrese train already, but we've seen them be willing to do it, even if it's a different front office.
Yeah, we're talking to Brenden Nunes, Sacktown Sports Insider, Sacramento Kings Insider, and Brenden, I'm trying to get the temperature of Sacramento Kings fans just a little bit, because as I look at this, I've asked this question multiple times, and it is, do you feel like rebuilding has become this point of conversation for the sake of it? Because especially in the NBA, Brenden, there's no guarantees you'll get out of this in 5 years. There's no guarantees 7. They're like, the Charlotte went out, they got LaMelo Ball, and they've been what feels like, no matter what, they've been stuck in that realm. There's other teams out there in the NBA that have been sitting in that, Portland Trail Blazers. Where are they going? What's their future? They're stuck in some of those things. What is your look at it? Because it just doesn't feel like, even if you tear this down, there's just simply no guarantee that it's going to work. Now you retool, maybe things fall your way, some injuries, stuff like that. Stuff could happen, but I hear rebuild constantly. And I've heard Dave, me and Dave have had closed doors conversations, right? Me and Dave have talked about this, where he's on the show and he's talking about, tear this apart, and there's no guarantee.
There's not, but the hardest piece of the puzzle here when constructing a team is getting a number one guy. And unfortunately, I think when you're a small market, the only way to do that is, I used to think the SGA trade was an outlier. I guess now you can say the Tyrese trade. Unfortunately, the Kings were on the wrong side of that, but maybe you can acquire these guys in a trade. I think that's pretty unlikely, and you probably have to do it through the draft. But to your point, we just saw Dallas jump up. Atlanta jumped up the year prior. Go back 1 year in the Wemby draft, and San Antonio jumps up. Feel how you want about the lottery, but these new odds have clearly, I guess, been successful with what they wanted to do and even this out. So it's not a guarantee, but I feel like one of the more underspoken aspects of that, if you don't want to call it tanking or rebuilding, like, it is embracing youth, I think, is the idea. And to go back to Keegan Murray, he's a guy that was really hindered last year. He didn't get as many touches. You saw a degression offensively, really, and there was growth as a rebounder, defensive player. But part of this is you could embrace what he is and what he could be and get him more touches, and try to just get the most out of the youth that you do have on this roster, albeit that there's not many, since this is one of the 5 oldest teams in the NBA. But that would be, I guess, where I would go, is try to just get a little bit younger. It doesn't mean you have to suck and you have to be praying for ping pong balls in the lottery, but just be younger. You mentioned Portland. Would we have ever have known that Toumani Camara is that good if he was still on Phoenix? Would he have gotten that much run? Like, Denny Advia took a big jump over there. So I think that there are successful aspects to just embracing your youth, and it allows you to try at least to get the most out of the talent that you do have with these guys.
I am not comparing the Kings to the A's, but the idea here is, when you're going and are in a new arena, new stadium, new whatever, the idea is you need to be competitive to put, people in the seats. You need people to go to the arena that you paid millions, billions of dollars to put together and to build. That's where the intrigue comes for me, is like, are Kings fans ready to experience something that is going to then directly affect potential attendance and revenue streams and all of those things that come with being a potential playoff team, as opposed to a potential bottom 5 team inside the NBA? I won't let you go, Brenden, without asking you 2 questions. One, I know I've asked this to Ramsey, 3 games away from an NBA Finals. Would you think that the Indiana Pacers are going to lift a ban on Tyrese's dad if they get in, right, into the NBA Finals? That's one. And then 2, Pacers win game 1, morale in game 2 for the Knicks. Who knows, 2-0 or 1-1. That's going two very different series coming out of that. How are you seeing that series playing out today and through the weekend?
Yeah, I'll answer your second question first. I think that Indiana is on a miracle run right now. The fact that they have 3 ridiculous comebacks, Tyrese Haliburton already having 4 game winners in the postseason is ridiculous, or at least shots in the final seconds, maybe not directly game winners. He's proven to be really, really clutch. Former King point guards are just extremely clutch, apparently. But I still think New York is going to make this a series. I think that they were up big in that game. There was a lot of good things going for them, and then they kind of let their foot off the gas. The offense just totally sputtered out, and maybe cover the guy that is on fire from 3 instead of leaving him wide open. I think we're going to find out a lot tonight about just the fight that the Knicks have in them, but I do think they're the better team. And I kind of think this is just OKC's title to lose. At this point, I think the Knicks would put up a much better fight than Indiana. Indiana might get swept or lose in 5. And again, they're the miracle team that is just overperforming what everybody expects. So they could definitely go in there and prove me wrong. But I think OKC is miles ahead of everybody right now. And for Tyrese's dad, you would hope that, hey, if you make the finals, like, don't make this guy be in a bar with people. I don't know if you saw that, but he still has the towel, But I also hear the other side of if it was anybody else, they're not allowed back in, but it's not anybody else. It's this guy's dad. I personally would say let him in there. He's a nice guy. We talked to him a handful of times when he was here. And I would imagine that he's learned his lesson having to sit at home for a round or 2, round and a half.
Yeah, round and a half. I agree with you. Ramsey joked about maybe, put the shades on, put the cap on, go in a suite, sit in there and just, let it be about your son. If that happens, don't make it about yourself and your return. That's where I would sit. Brenden, I appreciate you joining the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I will say last thing, I thought it was hilarious when people were talking about Tyrese giving that Pacers fan tickets. They're like, well, he has extra tickets. His dad's not going to the game.
That's true.
Thanks
He
for
does.
having me, guys.
Yeah, his extra tickets. Appreciate you, Brenden. Brenden Nunes, SacktownSports.com. A Sacramento Kings insider. Always grateful to have him on. Always grateful to have a conversation with him. And make sure you go read his work on SacktownSports.com. We'll talk a little 49ers and Brock Purdy. Yeah, we'll talk about Brock Purdy and his new contract and what does that mean to the San Francisco 49ers culture. Not the play on the field, but culture. We'll talk about that next. Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive Guys, Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason, right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
California, it's the Ford Memorial Day Sell-a-thon. For a limited time, get the biggest savings on an incredible selection. So visit your California Ford dealer now and get great offers across the lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Like the built Ford Tough F-150 truck, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and counting. Or the adventure-ready Ford Bronco Sport with GOAT modes to help you conquer the great outdoors. And check out the always electrifying Ford Mustang Mach-E with 0 to 60 thrills and 0 emissions. It's the Ford Memorial Day Sell-a-thon, and it's your chance to save. Whether it's gas, hybrid, or all-electric, now's the best time to get behind the wheel of your brand new Ford truck or SUV and drive it home today. But hurry, these offers end soon. So go to your California Ford dealer today, based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Hey, Sacramento, join Alan Stiles at Sacktown Sports, Sunday from 1 till 3 at Fasteners Tool Outlet off Power Inn Road, and fill your freezer with 20 ribeyes for only $40. You don't want to miss this.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive Guys today. Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason, Jay Johnson all out today. Getting a start, getting a jump, a belated, birthday for for Kevin Gleason. Shout out to him. Shout out to the guys. We can't wait for their return, and always grateful to every single one of you for tuning in to Sacktown Sports 1140, listening to every single one of our shows live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., sacktownsports.com, app, website, anything and everything. Always grateful for your support of this station. Now, I am intrigued with this next topic because I've been on the side of believing that, I've said this before and I'll say it here. One of my biggest, and we'll see if I'm right, comments that I've made as a host has been when the San Francisco 40, and I said this 2 years ago, after the conference championship, Purdy gets hurt, and we go into that offseason with, is Lance going to be the guy? Is he going to, take over? Or how far is he going to fall down the list? And he gets traded, Dallas Cowboys, all this stuff. Now, I said then that when the San Francisco 49ers sign Brock Purdy to an extension and give him all of the money, I don't believe, and I didn't believe, that the San Francisco 49ers were going to win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy at the helm. I was a very, very straightforward non-believer of Brock Purdy. Just being transparent as transparent gets. I hadn't seen a lot of him. I made up a conclusion as soon as I saw Brock Purdy. I didn't give him a lot of chance. I made a decision. I made a call. Now, for those of you that might not know, Brock Purdy signed a nice hefty extension with the San Francisco 49ers, 5 years, $265 million. I think a big part of that and a big piece of that is that, it happened in May. We didn't have to wait to June, July, August. There was no, there was no Trent Williams to this. There was no Brandon Ayuk to this. There was no holdout to any. Those are Debo, right? There was none of that stuff that had been, I think, affecting the team the last few years, where everybody wants to go get theirs, deservedly so, right? Everybody wants theirs. With that being said, though, it felt like in Ramsey, as a non-49er guy, I want your input in this aspect of what I'm about to say and what I'm about to go to, because we'll take this also to the other side. And that is, did you feel like the San Francisco, aside from Shanahan and all that, did you feel like last year, everybody says the vibes, right? Oh, the vibes don't feel right. The vibes are flowing. Were they off though last year? It just felt like it wasn't aside from 6 wins and aside from injuries and aside from everything kind of went down for the San Francisco 49ers, it just didn't feel like the same 49er team we've seen or felt or been around for the last 5 years.
Being a non-San Francisco fan, I loved last season. I loved it because they were struggling. San Francisco fans were asking questions, and unfortunately, they just weren't that good at a 6-11 record. And I'm also going to say, I understand the fourth place schedule that everybody's talking about. Everybody's trying to preface they got the quote unquote easiest schedule in the league on May 23rd, 2025. Football doesn't start for another 4.5, almost 5 months from now. Please tell me where these pundits, these experts see them taking such a dramatic jump going from 6 to 12 to 13 win next season. I personally don't see it. I mean, I honestly see if they get to 9 wins, that's an accomplishment in my opinion, because going from 6 to 9, that's a 3-win swing, which is huge in the NFL. I mean, there may be some games. Okay.
Hey, Washington had a swing last year, the reason I bring that up is, it feels to me that Brock Purdy has then, with this extension and getting it done, and sources coming out and saying he never asked for $60 million, he never went above that number. They had really cordial negotiations. He never felt disrespected by an offer. He came out in his press conference He spoke about, other guys, other teams. He spoke about culture. He spoke about the 49ers' future. And one of the biggest things he did with this contract is give the San Francisco 49ers the ability to try to build around him. My fear was that Brock Purdy was going to go and get everything he could get in this. He didn't. Now, unselfish, selfish, whatever you want to say, but he doesn't go and get everything he can get. He gets a really good contract, still a top contract, and again, the most money that the San Francisco 49ers have doled out. There are some guarantees in there. There is a guarantee that, that could actually lead to the 49ers moving on from Brock Purdy once those guarantees come down and that money is more accessible to kind of take in and eat later on in dead cap. There is that potential in 2 years that the 49ers see what they can and move on from Brock Purdy. I don't think enough people are talking about that, but I want to talk about the culture that this could be setting, because now you have Fred Warner, who signs an extension, gets a deal done. We'll talk about culture next, because the 49ers, I think, have been built around culture. When you go look at a Philadelphia Eagles team, right? And you go and hear how those players are talking about helping grow the rookies that are coming in and helping to push those guys to be as successful as they can. Those guys are drafting really well, are doing a lot of good things. What about the San Francisco 49ers culture? We'll answer that question next. Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive guys, Kyle Draper and Kevin Gleason, right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings and of the San Francisco 49ers, Sacktown Sports 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Fidium Fiber.
I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Beautiful start to Memorial Day weekend. Temperatures in the low 50s in the morning, but it will warm up. Afternoon highs in the upper 80s with sunshine and a Delta breeze. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA app.
It's about time they
fixed that pothole.
Invented better windshield wipers.
Made an internet that just works. Fidium Fiber Internet, starting at only $30 a month. It feels like Fidium. Offer available to residential customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See Fidium.com for details.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the Mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the biggest selection, the best prices, and unbeatable customer service. Check them out online, sacksuperstore.com, for the guaranteed lowest price on Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Open until 10 o'clock and right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. sacksuperstore.com.
The Hagen Oaks Cutting Edge Putter Fitting Studio offers you more technology, more choices, and more service. Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. With $30,000 worth of state-of-the-art technology ready for your fitting, Hagen Oaks will help you make your best putting stroke while finding the best putter design, shape, hosel, length, and loft for your game. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for more.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
experience. How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's the Memorial Day Sell-a-thon now through Monday at Folsom Lake Ford. Get employee pricing plus low finance rates with approved credit now through Monday. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford. FolsomLakeFord.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6814. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6814. 800-575-6814. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It's the energy all around you.
Lightning and the thunder. Thunder.
The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights. The rush of pure exhilaration.
Thunder.
The roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Live and local is the Tribe Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for the Drive Guys. Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, you know, in Spanish, there's a saying, and it is, it's Friday and the body knows it. That's the saying. In Spanish, es viernes y el cuerpo lo sabe. It's just, it is Friday. Does it? Like, I keep looking at the clock here, Ramsey, and, you know, it might be other reasons, but I keep looking at the clock and going, weekend's right here, right around the corner.
I could quote a line from the movie of Friday. It's Friday. You ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah, come on. Now, is this the kind of time that the road to Lake Tahoe is absolutely like just traffic lit, like just insanely trafficked?
Give or take, only for the fact that it's the start of a holiday weekend.
Yeah. How many people leave Thursday as opposed to Friday? You know, that has to be taken into consideration. Like, I'm hoping when I get on my in my little car and drive down the 99 that, you know, there's not that much traffic. I've seen days where that traffic is backed up from LA and it's all the way over, and you're just like, whoa, that's insane.
And coming from where we come from, I mean, you may depending on time we leave out of here, you should be okay, but there's times from where we're located at all the way out to Elk Grove, it could be ugly. I mean, nothing's
construction
ugly.
ever going to get done?
I can't call it, and it's not just 99. It's 50 going through downtown. It's 50 from right at Sutter Health Park all the way to Davis.
Yeah, but
it's
right
50
here, right
almost
at Exposition Boulevard. I'm like, it like, again, granted, I've been here for a year and 5 months, and like I've driven. I'm like, okay, I see the progress, but it's been a year and 5 months. Like,
I know people can't see us on the radio or for those on the stream. I'm gonna give you the ever famous Jordan shrug. I don't know. I hope it'll finish soon, but that's above my pay grade. I'm here in this seat. I don't do the work that Caltrans and construction do. They get paid those dollars to do that. Tip my hat. That's just not for me. But I couldn't tell you when it's gonna be finishing. Like I said, it's almost every freeway. Granted, we need it, but it's an inconvenience to our life when it is going on.
Yeah, one of the things, like, I had to get used to being here in Sacramento was the one-way streets. That's now I'm good. Like, I obviously just look at the signs, Jose. Why don't all you got to do is just look up. That's it. But I get it. But I'm just saying, like, going into a new city, going to a nice downtown, I've enjoyed every ounce of my time here in the city of Sacramento.
And just speaking to you, said some of the one-way streets now have been converted to two-way streets. And there are certain sections of streets that are one-way streets that at that section, they now become two-way streets.
And I ain't going to lie, I get so upset when I'm going to a Kings game, especially as a new guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, now I know where to not go and where to miss. Like, my wife and I went to a WWE event at Golden One Center, and, like, my GPS was telling me another thing. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I should trust it. And I did, and I shouldn't have, because if I would have went my normal way, I don't. But you miss a turn and you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, okay, I got to wait a couple. Oh, that street's close. Oh, okay, let me go a little further here. Oh, okay, that street doesn't go this way.
And speak just like we were, especially by Golden One, and the street that I was speaking to recently within the past 6 to 8 months, it went from a one-way to two-way street. It's Fifth Street, which is right next to Golden One Center, and I've gotten used to it because I drive on Fifth Street now all the time. But when I first saw it, I'm like, this is a two-way. I'm like, this is a two-way street now, because I was used to just going north on Fifth Street, and you take it all the way up, and you're good to go. But now it's a two-way street, so
we'll see. Well, we'll talk some 49ers here, and going into this, I talked about culture and what makes culture and what has made culture in the San Francisco 49ers locker room, and where a lot of this is going for them. And I really genuinely believe that this contract that Brock Purdy has gotten and how early he has gotten it has genuinely, I think, given the 49ers a good culture. And I say that because the quarterback is the leader. Like it or not, believe it or not, but the guy who usually is the highest paid in the room has to be the best leader in the room. Now, there are other leaders, right? You have a Trent Williams that I think should be a leader, is a leader. You have some other guys that you sit here and you go, hey, Fred Warner, he's the defensive leader, but you need other guys to surround that to encompass what the leader is trying to push and go. Brock Purdy taking a pay cut, essentially, right? Like, I know some of us are going to say, and I'm going to be one of those that would say, man, is he worth the $55 million a year APY? Like, right? Is he worth close? Is he worth what Joe Burrow is worth? I think everybody would argue, no, Joe Burrow's the better quarterback. But for the 49ers and this system, Brock Purdy has it down pat. He knows the system. I'm not calling him a system quarterback, but he understands the system. Now you have a guy like Ricky Pearsall, right? How is he going to fill the gap that Deebo Samuel left? Because Deebo was and/or made the offense. Now you have a guy like Juwan Jennings. Is he going to be the guy that steps into the two spot, or is he going to be the three guy? What is it when Brandon Ayuk finally comes back from injury? We don't know how he's going to come back from that injury. First of all, we're just so used to these guys coming back so easily from all the ACLs, MCLs, Achilles. Like, we're just so, I think, desensitized to really how horrific these injuries are for these athletes. There's a lot left up in the air. You made the point earlier in the show where you said, wow, if they win 3 more games than they did last year, I would say that's an uber success. The articles that we're reading, with the good bad schedule, the 49ers, I think I would agree with you to the extent of I'm saying 10. I'm a believer that they can get to 10 wins. Obviously, things have to fall their way. But I like that Brock Purdy did what he did. As much of a hater as I am on Brock Purdy, you guys don't hear it. I say it behind closed doors out here. I'm a Brock Purdy hater a little bit. And, this made me go, he gets it. He understands that he doesn't have the most talent. He understands that his arm isn't the best. He understands that, and he goes, yeah, the 49ers need me to give them a little bit so that we can be successful.
My question that I pose to anyone, especially being a fan of the football team, the San Francisco Santa Clara, whatever you want to call them, how much confidence does one have in Brock Purdy to take you to what would be considered the promised land? How much faith do you have in him to lead you all the way to getting a championship? Personally, I don't see it. I feel he's a mid-tier quarterback. I'm not saying he's the worst quarterback because there's a lot of quarterbacks worse than him, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that I would rather have over Brock Purdy.
Would you I'm gonna play devil's advocate and Derek on the line. Do you want to talk 49ers?
I believe so.
Okay. So we'll get to Derek here, but I'm gonna ask you this question. Are you taking Jared Goff or are you taking Brock Purdy?
Jared Goff. Easy. Without hesitation.
Okay, we'll take Derek's call here. Derek, you're on with the drive, guys. Jose Gonzalez filling in. What you got on your mind?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that it all depends on Brock Purdy's perspective when it comes to the money element of this. I mean, his contract is decent. We'll see what happens. It gives them flexibility.
I just asked Ramsey the question, and I'll ask you the question because I'm going to give my answer here on this side. Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, who are you taking?
I'm taking Jared Goff.
Oh, okay. All right, Derek, I appreciate your call, man.
Thanks.
Oh. Really?
I'll tell you why. I feel Jared Goff is a little more athletic than Brock Purdy.
Is he? Because, like Brock Purdy on their way to the Super Bowl got 3 critical first downs with his legs.
He did. The other thing to me, Jared Goff is much more accurate in my opinion, than Brock Purdy.
I will give you that Brock Purdy has moments where you look and you go, where are you throwing that, bro? Like, dude, I'll tell you there are so many times, and I'm going to get away from the mic because, my voice travels, but I'm like, Brock, why are you throwing that? Don't.
Exactly. And you don't have
But I do, because here's the caveat to it, and we'll take a break on this, and we'll come back, and if you and I want to discuss as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. When the 49ers, they didn't do it. Let me correct what I'm about to say. When the Detroit Lions decided to hand the game to the 49ers at Levi's Stadium.
And they definitely handed that game to them.
What did they do? What did the Detroit Lions do? They started throwing the freaking football. That's what they started doing. So we'll talk about this on the other side because I made a promise to everybody that I was going to hit my brace. And, yeah, we're close to that. But, yeah, if you want to call and give me your opinion, because I'm intrigued. I think that's the level we're talking about, right? Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. I think Brock is a top 10 quarterback.
I don't.
I think he's a fringe top 10 quarterback because, again, I think he's good at what he knows to do, and he sticks within those parameters. When he doesn't is when he throws those interceptions.
And I'll give you a quarterback on the other side of the break that I take over Brock Purdy myself.
All right, Jose Gonzalez filling in for the drive guys, Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason. Who would you take? Are you taking Brock Purdy over Jared Goff, or are you taking Jared Goff over Brock Purdy? Or am I just a Jared Goff hater? Because you know what? I am a little bit of a Jared Goff hater. We'll talk about it on the other side. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
Meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Beautiful start to Memorial Day weekend. Temperatures in the low 50s in the morning, but it will warm up. Afternoon highs in the upper 80s with sunshine and a Delta breeze. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA app.
Memorial Day celebration comes early at Elk Grove Honda. See, test drive, and purchase your brand new Elk Grove Honda at attractive prices right now. Visit Elk Grove Honda in the Elk Grove Auto Mall. We have the right Honda at the right price.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda. Hello, I'm Frank Cock with Retirement Security Centers with a weekly economic update. Everyone has a credit score from your Aunt Edna to our own Uncle Sam. Moody's lowered the bond rating of the U.S. government. This was done due to concerns about continued deficit spending and refinancing of existing debt at current higher rates. The 30-year bond yields increased above 5%, while 10-year treasuries rose above 4.5%. An investment analyst at Baird stated that this is not new information that many investors didn't already know about and continued their market bullishness for the next 12 months. The big, beautiful tax bill is being discussed in the House. Opponents state that it could add trillions to the deficit over the next decade, and cuts in benefits could offset cuts in taxes and increases in the child tax credit. The Council for Economic Advisors state that they expect to see take-home pay increases between $7,800 to $13,300 through reduced taxes and potential increases in growth and wages from these tax cuts. The bill is far from final, so expect lots of discussion and many changes before the final decision is made and how it could affect Americans moving forward. How might this affect you or your family? Please go to frankontheradio.com to schedule an appointment, watch videos, and receive market updates. I'm ready to help you start your journey so you can define your future.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Mosaic Wealth, member FINRA SIPC. Mosaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Mosaic Wealth.
San Francisco! What a laser from Brock Purdy, and what a catch.
San Francisco 49ers single game tickets are available now.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Fred gets up and runs back the other way. One block and he's in. Gonna throw left for the end zone. It's caught by George Kittle.
Secure your seats at 49ers.com/tickets.
Touchdown! What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. What's going on, Chad, for Chrysler's Employee Pricing Plus event?
If you've been struggling to find the right Ram heavy duty that fits within your budget, the search is over with Hoblet's Employee Pricing Plus event, where we give you the employee price and then take even more off. Right now, save up to 10% off MSRP on brand new 2025 Ram heavy duty 2500s and 3500s. Don't miss your chance to save big like the Employee of the Month at Hoblet Dodge.
And you're always one of the top Ram truck dealers in the entire nation.
It's true, and I think it boils down to our huge selection of hard-to-find Ram heavy duties with over 300 available and our award-winning customer service.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com.
10% toll net savings on select new 2025 Ram 3500 Laramie after $1,500 factory rebates and $9,075 dealer discount, including employee pricing for all. Rebates include $500 on the job upfit. Must show eligible upfit. And Hoblet discount between $7,100 and $9,075, depending on trim level, for a total of 10% off MSRP. Aid of this net savings. Sample VIN 02043. See dealer for details.
Skeeter here. Got a question. What's small and dark with white bands on its legs and bites during the day?
Mosquitoes. Hi, I'm Luz Maria Robles, but these are two new types of day-biting mosquitoes. They're invading our area and becoming a big problem.
And they can be dangerous.
But we're on it, so when you see them, report it at fightthebite.net. In the meantime, use insect repellent and drain stagnant water around your yard.
We're here to help with these day-biting mosquitoes.
Visit us at fightthebite.net.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Groundworks comes in. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Holy shit!
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
For those of you that are wondering, yes. The Drive Guys will be back next week, and my Brock Purdy takes and all will be gone for you. You know, someone in the text line, I won't read all of it, talks a little smack, says these Purdy takes are horrendous. Horrible is what he says. I say horrendous because, you know, it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, especially when he's already taken the team to the Super Bowl. I want a moment of silence for any 49er fan that believes Brock Purdy is the main reason that they got to a Super Bowl to play the Chiefs. That, by the way, they then lost to the Chiefs with a lot of opportunities to win. I have watched San Francisco 49er games every season. I have missed maybe a handful, maybe 5 at the most over the last 20 years. Even when they had Alex Smith in 2005 and they were horrendous with Singletary and, you know, Vernon Davis getting thrown out of the game. And I've watched all of those games. If you believe that the 49ers got there because of Brock Purdy, then there's nothing I can do, say, or mention to make you look at this any different way. Look, I am not saying Brock Purdy was not part of the reason. Absolutely. The quarterback has to be competent in order to make that run. But it's like saying that the Indiana Pacers are genuinely, you know, that they haven't run into injury luck or anything like that. Before I get off on a tangent, I want to make sure I deliver for the callers. 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140. And again, like I'm honest, sometimes I am a little bit of a hater. In this case, I'm actually not being a Brock Purdy hater. Let's go to Chris on the line. I asked a question before on the other side. I was flabbergasted by the 2 answers I have gotten. Maybe Chris has a different one. Maybe Chris has the exact same one. Jared Goff, Brock Purdy. Who